let's get back to talking about this 30-day marketing challenge. The whole idea of this 30-day marketing challenge was very simple. I have been taking some time off this summer because I could feel myself starting to burn out. And I am someone who has experienced like full physical burnout a couple of times in my career. Once I did it early on in my career. I was working 4 jobs simultaneously, not something that I recommend. And I decided to burn out, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't really decide. It just kind of happened. But I was out for like 6 months. It was really bad. Like physically, it just took me out completely. So I could start to feel some of the symptoms of burnout. So I decided, okay, I'm taking some time off this summer, going to just relax a little bit. But I also knew that I needed something that was going to get me back in the saddle, because if you take too much time off, it's really easy to take a little bit more time off. And so the idea of this 30-day marketing challenge really for me was to reset after the summer. It was a personal thing. It was, okay, Mark, you're taking your time off. You're giving yourself a chance to recover. You're getting your head back in the game, but you're not going to let this run on for a long period of time here. We are not entering semi-retirement or whatever. It's time to get back to work. So the challenge was designed for me to give myself something to work towards, so that starting on September 1st, I would have daily goals to hit to get myself back into the marketing saddle again. But as I started putting the challenge together, I got to thinking, you know what? This is kind of fun. And it's a good idea. And I think other people will benefit from it. And so let's open it up. Let's have some other people participate too. I have been overwhelmed by the response to this 30-day marketing challenge. Way more people signed up for it than I ever expected. And that makes me really happy, because I want you guys to feel like you're taking control of your business, that you're doing little things every day that are going to move the needle forward on your business. And so the idea here is very simple. One simple action every day for 30 days. That's it. One simple action every day for 30 days. I coach a lot of voice actors. I talk to a lot of different voice actors throughout my week. And the one thing that I see consistently is the reason why they are not taking action is because they think they don't know what to do. Now, I know that they know what to do. I would say probably deep down on some level, they know that they know what to do, but they think they don't know what to do. And so that's the reason why they're not taking action. And so if I can spell it out every single day, here's your challenge. This is the task. Here are some helpful tips for how to execute it. Here's a simple template that you can follow, whatever. Take out all the guesswork. It forces your hand to actually do the thing. And here's what I'm finding. People are actually doing the thing, and I love it. And not only are people doing the thing, but people are actually starting to see some results from doing the thing, which is even better. I want you to see results. That's the whole point in this, right? I want you to see results. I want you to make some things happen. And so I love that. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm sorry for those of you who didn't get in on it. I did have a bunch of people email me after the challenge had started and saying, I should have done it, I didn't do it. What I can tell you is that it has been much more widely received than I expected. And so this is definitely something that I will do again. So watch for it. And it won't just be a repeat of the exact same challenge. I will come up with some different ideas and we'll work on some different things. But we will definitely do this again, because I can definitely see that it's making an impact. And so that makes me happy. Now, for those of you who are doing the challenge, one quick tip that I want to mention. Putting this thing together I had to sit down and think about it for a minute, because there's a very wide range of individuals in the VOpreneur community. There are seasoned voice actors who have been doing this for a really long time, have a really long list of clients, but maybe just haven't always been really good about their marketing. There are brand new voice actors who have never done anything, haven't done any marketing, maybe don't even have their first client yet. And so trying to put together a challenge that works across that spectrum is not always easy. So one of the things that I've tried to reiterate, and I want to mention it again here too, the purpose of this challenge isn't specifically about following the daily challenges word for word. The overarching purpose of this challenge is to do something every day. Take an action every single day. And so if there is, for example, one of the challenges earlier this week was about reaching out to a past client. And there were a few voice actors who messaged me and said, well, I don't have any past clients. So what do I do? Well, reach out to a prospect. Okay. Or I don't have any prospects. So what do I do? Reach out to a new lead. The idea, again, is not specifically about following the challenges word for word. Obviously, I want you to try to do that as much as possible because it makes it easier for you. But if one of the challenges presents and you just can't do that challenge for whatever reason, don't just ignore it. Don't just skip the day. Just adapt, pivot, do something different. But the point is 30 days of consistent action, 30 days of showing up and doing the thing. And I promise you, this is going to make a difference in your business. This is going to start some conversations that you maybe wouldn't have otherwise had. It's going to bring you back top of mind with some people who have maybe forgotten about you. It's going to put some new leads in the pipeline that are going to create some potential new opportunities for you. And so just show up and do the thing. That's what I want you to do. I want you to just show up and do the thing. I will say, and I'm not surprised by this, but I would say approximately right now, 30 to 35% of the people have already fallen off after the first week. Now, that's not an exact science, but there are some metrics that I can look at in my system that shows, are people engaging with the emails, are people logging into the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At this point, I would say like 30 to 35% have already failed or fallen off the first, we're not even through the first week yet. And so that's something else that I want to encourage you with. One of the reasons sometimes why we get nervous about marketing is because we think everybody's doing it. And so everybody's sending emails and everybody's on social media and and how do we cut through all the noise? Well, I can tell you right now, the data shows very clearly that even though there was a confirmed number of people who signed up for this challenge, we're 5 days in and like almost a third of those people have already flaked out. And so everybody's not doing it. Everybody thinks about doing it. Everybody knows they should be doing it. Everybody has ideas about how they're going to do it. Everybody has intentions for doing it, but not everybody actually does it. And so if you are one of the people who actually follow through and actually do it, that's going to make an impact. So show up and do the thing. Okay? That's all. Show up and do the thing. Hey, this is for you. Free Advice Friday is for you. I am back. I did enjoy my time off. We had an amazing time in Tennessee. So much fun. Felt really great. Couple of us, myself and Kaylee mainly, didn't want to leave the Great Smoky Mountains. Definitely could have spent some more time in that cabin up in the mountains, but it does feel good to be back. Hopefully to be doing Free Advice Friday with a little bit more consistency now so we can get back into a little bit more of a routine. But in the meantime, I am here. This is for you. And so if you have a question that you would like to ask and get answered on Free Advice Friday, you know what to do. Type it in the comments, put a Q beside it, makes it a little bit easier to pop out once the chat gets going. But what is your pressing business and marketing question that you have and that you would like to ask and that you would like to get answered? Because this is your opportunity to do that. And so let's go. Let's do the thing. This has been awesome. Thank you. You know what? I'm getting so much positive feedback from people who are doing the challenge who just needed the nudge. And I get it. That's why I was doing the challenge, because I just needed the nudge. Marc says, your pivots have been solid. Thanks for the ideas. And that's it. I mean, if you can't do it exactly word for word, like if I share a post that asks you to do something on social media, but you're 1,000% opposed to going on social media, okay, then do something different. Send an email to somebody. Make a reach out in some other way. Just take that action. Take that action. All right. What do you want to talk about? Fred says, hey, Marc, I'm enjoying the challenge. It's pushed me to get things rolling again. Looking forward to the next steps. And that's it. Sometimes we just need to come at it from a different perspective. Sometimes part of the value is just in the accountability, which I also recognize. Knowing that there are other people who are doing the challenge, logging into the community every day and seeing the things that other people are doing. And I think there's a twofold benefit to that. One, seeing that other people are doing it can motivate you to do it. But two, if you're really feeling stuck, seeing what other people are doing can sometimes help you and give you ideas and make you feel like, okay, I could do that. Or maybe that's my next step. And so there's value in that as well. So do the thing, okay? That's it. Do the thing. TJ says, first day school pics with the boo were adorable. it was an interesting day yesterday. It was a bittersweet day yesterday because there's a part of me that's like, this is what she needs. She's so ready. She's so ready. She's so smart. I'm actually a little bit concerned that she's going to be bored at school because I think she might be too smart for her own good. But at the same time, like it's felt lonely in the office yesterday and today, like she hasn't come down, and that feels weird, and I miss that. And so now it's just a matter of encouraging Kinsley to start walking and getting her to a point where she comes down the stairs, and then she can come and visit me, and then I'll be good for a couple more years until she goes off to school. So I would love to have Kinsley pop in right now, actually, but she is currently doing nap time. So no appearances today. You are just stuck with me. All right, let's go to some questions. Nathan says, I've been sending a ton of emails, following up at least 6 times and still not getting a response. I'm currently getting a 1.9% response rate, which is awful. What is your advice on this? Okay, Nathan, there's a couple of things that I think that we could look at here. First and foremost, are you targeting the right people? So I would be looking at the types of companies that you're reaching out to and the job titles that you're reaching out to. That would be one thing that we could look at. The next thing that I would be looking at is the content of your messaging itself. Are you saying the right things to these people? Here's a good rule of thumb. If your message to an individual, and I'm talking mostly about the introductory email here, if that introductory email could be copied and pasted and sent to a dozen other people without editing, that's your problem right there. Your message is not personal. It's not cutting through. It just sounds like any other generic message that's coming from any other marketer, any other voice actor, whatever. And so that's definitely one of the things that I would be looking at. Is my introductory email targeted and personalized? What are you saying in your follow-up emails? Are you demonstrating ways that you're going to be able to add value to them? So that's something else that I would look out for. And then I would also be looking at your website and your demos, because ultimately, if the goal of these marketing emails is to drive people to your website and listen to your demos, are your demos measuring up? Does your website measure up? Are you making the right first impression? So those are some of the things that I would be looking at and trying to assess. In a lot of cases, it has more to do with the content of the email itself and the way that the emails are written. But the other thing I would be looking at is, have you done all of the necessary steps to make sure that your emails are even getting delivered in the first place? And so I taught a class. When did I teach that class? July, maybe? June? I can't even remember. But I taught a class called the VOpreneur Inbox Playbook. And if you go over to VOpreneur.com, click on the store button, and we'll scroll down, and what? It's not there. Why is it not there? Oh my gosh. Look at me failing. Okay, I'm going to find the link to that. That's awkward. I taught a class called the VOpreneur Inbox Playbook a couple of months ago. And the whole entire purpose of that class was teaching you how to make sure that you are landing in the inbox and not in the spam folder. Landing in the inbox and not in the promotions tab, the marketing tab, whatever. And there are a lot of different things that go into that. Making sure that your domain is authorized, making sure that there are certain settings that are in place, making sure that you're not using certain trigger words that might filter or that might trigger spam filters. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And it's very technical. I don't understand all of it myself, only to the point that I've been learning how to do it in order to be able to resolve some of those issues for myself. But those are factors too. So for example, if you have never done email marketing in the past, and now you are doing email marketing, but you've started doing email marketing at a very high scale, that can be a problem because you haven't taken the time to warm up your inbox first. And so you have to make sure that you're doing the things that are necessary to warm up your inbox. And so there are a lot of different factors that go into making sure that you're getting in the inbox and that you are getting found. There, I just put the link in the chat. Here it is. I need to update this page. I have dropped the ball so hard on this. VOpreneur Inbox Playbook. So what you'll get right now, it was live June 24th, but the replay is available now. So if you sign up now, you will get access to that replay. So click that link in the chat. We're going to talk about delivered versus deliverability, email reputation and authentication. I'm going to give you some tools for how to do those things. Common mistakes that people are making in their emails that may be the reason why they're not getting open, delivered, etc. and best practices to keep your delivery score high. Plus, I offer a couple of bonuses in there. There's a deliverability checklist, a tools guide that you can get. So if you click on that link, you'll be able to find that. Nathan points out in the chat that he has an over 61% open rate. Don't trust the open rate. The problem with open rates is there are a lot of things that can trigger an open on an email. Not the least of which is if you're reaching out to companies that have filters and systems in place to check for spam, to check for phishing, all of that sort of stuff, then your email could be pinging an open before it even actually lands in the person's inbox because it's going through that filter. So email open rates are no longer an accurate metric. And a lot of email marketing companies will tell you that they're no longer an open metric because of the way that they're measured. So a more accurate metric would be click through. So if you have a link in there, are they clicking links? And obviously response rate is the other thing that we're paying attention to as well. But those are a few of the things that I would be looking at, Nathan, to see whether or not there's any areas where improvement could potentially be made there. All right, Carol says, as a new voice actor with not much VO stuff to brag about, how can I still use my socials in a way that might move my business forward? I don't think that social media should be about bragging about all of your VO work anyway. That's not how I use it. I mean, if you look at my social media, I don't really talk a lot about, I'm not bragging about the work that I'm doing. I mean, part of that, I guess, is because a lot of the work that I do, especially in e-learning, it's proprietary. Can't share it anyway. But I'm more interested in demonstrating to people how I can add value to them and in helping people just get to know me on a more personal basis. The general consensus is that we work with people that we know, like, and trust. So how do you get a complete stranger to know, like, and trust you? Well, one of the ways that you can do that is just by being authentically you on social media. And so a lot of the stuff that I share is really meant to be more about that, just giving people a little bit more of a deeper insight into me. So can you share your demos? 100%. Can you talk about the type of work you're available for? 100%. Can you talk about what you bring to the table as a voice actor? 100%. Can you all those things are valid, and it's not, you don't have to have a long list of credits or a lengthy client list or anything like that to be able to do that. But part of it also is just you being you and letting people see you and letting people get to know you. And you never know what the thing is that you're going to share that is going to resonate with someone. And I mean, a really good example of that in some senses is the post that I shared on LinkedIn yesterday. The post about Kaylee going to school for the first time. I mean, take a look at this post. So here's the post. First day at JK for the boo, and I don't know who's more anxious, her or daddy. She's heading off into the unknown, something new, something challenging, but also something exciting. Daddy, on the other hand, will miss having her around the office all day. She's been a fixture in my workday for 4 years. Maybe I wasn't ready for that change yet. This girl will be a force one day. She already is brave, independent, possibly more stubborn than her dad, too smart for her own good at her age. I'm going to be a veterinarian, Daddy. If you ever lose your job, it's okay. You can scrub the bathrooms in my clinic. That is a direct quote, just to be clear. She actually said that to me. In a few years, I'll be helping her fill out her LinkedIn profile before she opens that clinic. What a blessing it will be to show her this picture and post and a reminder of where the journey began. Cherish every moment and never stop your kids busting in on your work day. One day you'll miss it when they can't. This has nothing to do with voiceover, but this is one of the most relatable posts probably that I've ever shared. So I don't even think this has been on LinkedIn for 20 hours yet. And look at it. 180 plus reactions, 40 comments on it. We're closing in on 3,000 impressions. And that's just me being me and me being relatable. And anybody who has ever sent a kid to school, I don't care who you are or what you do, if you're a voice actor or a video producer or an agent or an e-learning developer, doesn't matter. That's relatable. And so think about that sort of stuff too. How can you help people get to know you and get to relate you? Christopher says, how did you define your unique selling position? Was it based on a specific niche, performance, style, or a mixture of things? I think that we overthink this. And let me explain why. In a lot of instances, your unique selling position or your unique value proposition is like an overarching thing, right? The unique proposition of Office Depot is it's where you can go to get all of your office supplies. And so there's this unique thing that's right. If you go to Walmart, you can buy office supplies, but you can also buy groceries and children's clothes and a new toaster. And maybe you don't need all of that stuff. And so if you're just looking for pens and pencils and pieces of paper and a binder, then you just go to Office Depot because it's so much easier. And that's their unique selling proposition. Whereas Amazon's unique selling proposition is that they're the everything store, right? You could literally buy everything under the sun. And so there's these overarching propositions. And so sometimes I think that we have to find that for our voiceover business. And I think that's the entirely wrong way for voice actors to look at it. And so you might have 10 different unique selling propositions or unique value propositions based on different factors. So a couple that I've shared, and I've talked about these in the past. I am certified post-secondary. I went to college for teaching the adult learner. So when I'm reaching out to e-learning companies, that is part of my value proposition, is that I have actually been trained and am certified for teaching the adult learner. And so that, I think, makes me uniquely qualified for delivering e-learning content. Not every voice actor brings that to the table. And so that is a unique proposition that I bring in that space. I worked with a client once, and the very first thing I noticed, we signed on to our first Zoom meeting for a coaching session, and this guy had the most epic ZZ Top looking beard that you ever did see. Like just perfect, perfectly manicured, like just freaking perfect. Epic beard, epic beard. And I asked him about what he was using for his beard, what kind of products he was using for his beard. And he told me the names of some of the different things that he was using. And I said, have you ever reached out to them? And he hadn't. And I said, look, if I want somebody to be the voice of my brand, why not have somebody who uses my products every single day? And so the guy reached out to that brand and ultimately became the voice of that brand. And his unique selling proposition was the fact that he had this epic beard and he used all of their products. I was working with somebody earlier today who has a very lengthy history in corporate IT. That's where she worked in her career for a number of years. And she was an IT instructor. Well, if there's an IT company that is creating training content, wouldn't it be sweet to have the voiceover delivered by somebody who worked as an IT instructor? That is something that she brings to the table that most of the rest of us don't bring to the table. And so sometimes it's about looking a little deeper into your past or your present, your education, your experience, hobbies and passions could be one of those things. And can any of those things lend themselves to a particular area of voiceover? That might be a genre. It might be a niche. It might be a particular kind of client. It might be because of the particular voice that you have. I mean, how many times have you seen, as a male voice actor, I see this all the time. I see auditions that reference like Sam Elliott, for example. Unfortunately for me, I do not have Sam Elliott in me. But if you have Sam Elliott in you, that is a value proposition that you could lean into in certain areas of your marketing because that is something that you bring to the table. And so sometimes I think it's just about breaking it down a little bit further and seeing what we actually do have to offer. Let's see, what else? How do you keep your follow-up emails fresh without seeming repetitive or spammy? When I'm sending follow-up emails, each one of those emails has one specific purpose and one specific call to action. And so that allows me to do things a little bit differently because I'm not putting 5 different points in each email. So I can send a series of follow-up emails, and each one could address a specific question or a specific pain point or a specific aspect of my value proposition that I bring to the table. And so that's part of what allows me to keep things fresh, is because every one of them has its own form of unique content. And so that would be one of the things that I would be, that's one of the things that I would encourage you to think about. All right, let's see. Where else are we going? You guys are asking some good questions today. And if I miss your question, just to be clear, don't be afraid to type it again because there's a lot going on in the chat. Sometimes I miss things. We're talking about open rate. True, open rates may be bogus. So here's a great example of that. Brad Newman came on my podcast a couple years ago, and maybe I need to have him back to talk about it again. But he came on my podcast a couple years ago, and we were talking about spam and how to keep your email out of spam. And he's a Microsoft 365, our Office 365. I don't know, whatever it's called. I'm an Apple guy. But anyway, he's on this Microsoft product. And we were talking about open rates. And he said, you could send me an email right now. And in an hour, I could respond to that email. And if you check your CRM, it will never show that that email was opened, even though he opened it, read it, and responded to it. But because there are tracking pixel blockers that are built in. And Apple has this too. If you guys have an iPhone or if you're an iOS user or an Apple user in general, you've probably seen the little pop-up when you install a new app or whatever, and it pops up and it says ask app not to track. Like you click the button, ask app not to track. That's a tracking pixel blocker. That's how, if you go and look at, if you look at a toaster somewhere on the internet, within 5 minutes, your entire Facebook feed is filled with advertisements for that particular toaster. And every time you log into Amazon, it's showing you that particular toaster. It's because you're being followed around the internet by tracking pixels. That's what tracks open rates and all of those sorts of things. If you're using those fancy email signatures and it gives you stats on where they clicked and all that sort of stuff, it's all tracking pixels. And there are tools now that let you block them. And so that's another reason why email open metrics are not always accurate. Fred says, been great on radio, TV, retainer clients, moving production companies, etc. Is that what the Playbook is for? Playbook is just marketing in general, Fred. I just want to teach you the basics of marketing and the strategies and tactics of marketing. Playbook is very actionable, practical. I am not a fluff and rah-rah guy. I'm a do this, say this, look here, reach this person, etc. Like I really try to give it to you straight up, but it can be applied to any genre because it's just marketing in general. It's just teaching you best practices for marketing in general. Who you ultimately reach out to is up to you. And I try to keep it broad because one person wants to reach out for radio. Somebody else wants to reach out for commercials. Somebody else wants to reach out for video games. Somebody else wants to reach out for documentary. I think for the most part, marketing is marketing is marketing. And if you learn the fundamentals of marketing, then you can apply that. And what's really fun is when people take Playbook, for example, and then they take the principles that they've learned in Playbook and they apply them to other things that they're doing, other side hustles and stuff like that they have, which is also kind of fun. All right, TJ says, I met someone at a party. We clicked and swapped cards. She's in real estate. How soon can I offer to help without seeming like I'm just after her business? She gave you a card for a reason. I mean, maybe she thought it's because she was going to sell you your house, but I think this is another thing that we overthink too much. Look, if you email her in 24 hours, you met her last night, you email her the next day and you say, hey, have you got any voiceover work for me? Okay, no, wrong approach. If you send her a quick email to say, it was so great to meet you last night and I'm really interested by what you do. And, I'd love to keep the conversation going and see whether or not there's a way that we can collaborate. Two totally different approaches. Two totally different conversations, but both of them could have happened 12 hours later. And one of them would be like, ew. And one of them would be like, all right. So it's how you approach it, I think, that really makes the difference. So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to check in. Don't wait too long, because if you wait too long, she'll literally forget about you. And, that's nothing personal. That's just the nature of the game. Can you remember everybody that you met a week ago or 2 weeks ago at a networking event? Crap, I can't even remember what I did yesterday. So don't wait too long, but don't overthink it. I swear that overthinking is like a voice actor superpower. Like somehow at birth, something is genetically placed in every person who becomes a voice actor that gives them this superpower to overthink. all of us, to be clear, myself included. Just so you know, I still have the ability to overthink. One of the reasons why it's so easy for me to recognize it, right? Why is it so easy? What do they say? The things that we see in other people that frustrate us the most are often because those are the things that we see in ourselves. Like, look, I know all the excuses because I've given all the excuses. I've used all of the excuses. I sometimes still struggle with all of the excuses, and that's why I recognize them. But yeah, don't overthink this one. You got a great opportunity there. Reach out and make a connection. All right, guys, again, thank you for joining me on Free Advice Friday. If you do have a question that you would like to ask and get answered, don't be shy. Type it into the comments, put a Q beside it. I am keeping a lookout for it. If I missed your question, if you asked one earlier, please don't be afraid to type it in the chat again. I am not trying to ignore anybody's questions. Sometimes, as you can see, there's a lot going on in the chat there. And so it's sometimes easy to miss things while I'm doing the live Q&A and keeping things moving here. So don't be afraid to ask again, but I would love to answer all of your questions. Did you check out the new episode of the podcast? Summer series is over now. It was nice. It gave me a little bit of a break. The episodes were a little bit easier to put together, but we're back into the regular format of the podcast now. And my first guest is Nikki Schwartz. She runs the Online Casting Optimizer. It's onlinecastingoptimizer.com. She has cracked the code. Like, that sounds so cliche, like it really does actually sound corny to say it. But guys, I'm not kidding. She has cracked the code on Voice 123. She understands Voice 123 on a level that most people do not understand Voice 123, including the people who are working at Voice 123 and who are building out the algorithms and everything at Voice 123. She has figured it out. And so if you are using Voice 123, you are going to learn so much from this interview that I did with her. It's right here on the YouTube channel, Cracking the Code on Voice 123, how to be found and book more work. She offers up a ton of practical advice. So check that one out right here on the YouTube channel. It's also available audio version wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. It's on the website at VOpreneur.com as well. So much good information given in that one. Really getting me to think about Voice 123 in a totally different way. And what has occurred to me now, or what I understand better now, and I guess I always knew it on some level, but I understand it much more deeper now. Voice 123 is really two different things. Voice 123 is an online casting platform for auditioning. So that is, you get an email that says that an audition has matched your specs. You log into the site, you read the specs, you submit your audition, right? It's a casting site in that sense. But there is a crap ton of casting that is getting done on Voice 123 directly through search. They do not even make it to an open casting call audition because the buyers are coming in. They know exactly what they're looking for. They're doing a search. They're direct inviting a couple of voice actors or a handful of voice actors. And okay, maybe you audition that way, but they're not public auditions because you're getting the direct invites, or they're just hiring people directly. And so if you are not recognizing how Voice 123 works as a search engine, and if you are not optimizing for Voice 123 as a search engine, you are definitely missing out on opportunities. No question. You are missing out on opportunities. That's what Nikki gets into in this episode. It was so good. So definitely check that one out. If you are a Voice 123 user, you will learn some things. No question. You will learn some things. All right, guys, what else? What can I answer for you? What questions do you have? Mark says, as a dad, that post touched me and brought me to tears. Yeah, I got to tell you, I am a hardened, emotionless old firefighter. 17 years on the department. One of the things that I got really good at was just, turning my emotions off. You see things when you're a first responder. You see things, and you have to. I think my coping mechanism anyway was basically shutting down my emotional side. Which worked great when I was a firefighter. Doesn't work quite as great when you're a father of 4 daughters. But it takes a lot to get me. But yeah, she almost got me yesterday when I was giving her a hug, and she cried when we got to the school and it was time for her to go in. She cried and I was holding her, and And I was feeling some feels. I didn't cry. I'm a stubborn and hardened enough man at this point still that I didn't cry. I know that's nothing to be proud of, just to be clear, but but I definitely felt some feels yesterday when she was getting ready to go. But she ended up having so much fun, which was also really good. So when she came running into my arms after school yesterday, that felt pretty good. Let's see. What else? Am I missing anything? Going back to open rates and stuff like that, let me ask you another question. You send out 100 emails and you get a 96% open rate, which, just to be clear, pretty much impossible. But let's just say for the fun of it, you send 100 emails, you get a 96% open rate. You're like, woohoo, got a 96% open rate. What difference does it make if none of them respond? You might as well have a 1% open rate. And so sometimes I think that it's really easy to get too caught up in the wrong metrics. Obviously, the open rate is nice. It can indicate potentially that your emails are getting through, although not necessarily. But it still doesn't matter if you're not getting responses. And so I don't care as much about, I don't even track open rate. Actually, I've turned it off in my CRM because they don't even recommend tracking it anymore, because just by nature of tracking it, you can potentially end up in spam. So I don't even worry about it anymore. I'm looking at responses. Am I generating at least a 10% response rate? If I am not generating at the bare minimum a 10% response rate, something in my workflow is broken and needs to be fixed. And that could be my targeting. It could be my content. It could be my offer. Whatever it is, something in there is broken and needs to be fixed. And so that's what I am looking for. What are some good chairs to use for VO that don't squeak? I don't know. I go to Staples. We don't have Office Depot in Canada. I literally go to Staples, sit in a chair that's comfortable, and then that's the one I buy. Actually, in the last year, I've stood up in my booth, which is something that I was trying to see if it made a difference. The only thing that I will sit down for now occasionally is if I have a long form e-learning, like, several thousand words, and then I have a stool in the booth that I sit on. But for a lot of my work, I'm standing now. It was recommended that it was better. And in some senses I can get it because I move around a little bit more and I get a little bit more physicality, which can obviously play into reads. And so that might be something to try too. What CRM do you recommend for someone who has minimal exposure to them? I think every CRM that you try is going to come with a learning curve, regardless. Whether it's a free CRM or a $20 a month CRM or a $500 a month CRM. And trust me, there's a very wide spectrum. So I use Nimble. I have been using Nimble. I want to say I've been using Nimble since 2016. I think that's when I signed up for Nimble originally. And I have one of my superpowers is the ability to overanalyze everything to death. And so I knew when it came time for me to choose a CRM that I had a choice to make. Either I was going to spend a year of my life deep diving into every CRM on the market, test driving them all, and trying to find the ultimate perfect CRM for me, or I could pick one, stick with it until I either made it work or decided with certainty I cannot make it work. And so Nimble had been recommended to me by another voice actor at the time. And so that's what I did. And so I signed up for Nimble. If you are interested in signing up for Nimble, there's a special website that you can go to that gets you an extended trial. That's a 30-day free trial, fully functioning. You get to test drive everything. You don't have to put in a credit card or anything like that. So if you go to nimble.com/oversaturated, Marc Scott VO. They have a really great YouTube channel. There's lots of videos on their YouTube channel that can be very helpful. They do a ton of webinars. Their customer support is very responsive. So if you're struggling, I think that your customer support can help as well, or their customer support can help you as well. And then I do offer a Nimble course, which is literally I share my screen and just walk you through step by step exactly how I set up the software, exactly how I am using it. I show you all my settings, all my workflows, everything. And I keep that course updated on a relatively regular basis, depending on how frequently they're making changes within Nimble. So that might be something to think about, if you're interested. But I take Nimble for a test drive and see what you think. Most of the CRMs operate on the same relative principles. Most of them come with basically the same bells and whistles, maybe slightly different variations or whatever. A good entry-level CRM, or we'll say, I don't even say entry-level, small business / self-employed / solopreneur CRM, probably going to run you anywhere from $20 to $50 a month, depending on which one you sign up for. But I would also say that a CRM that is used properly and to its full potential will pay for itself many times over. And so I think that's also something important to think about. All right, what else? Tab showing up late. Come on. 144, really? 144? Showing up late? I sent an email. I warned you. I posted it on Facebook twice. What the heck? I don't know what more you want from me. Personal invitations, Tab? Come on. Got to start texting you every Friday, reminding you, show up for Free Advice Friday. Voice 123 is very strange. Do they intentionally make it weird? I love this question. I think as I have gotten older and wiser, in some ways, I have gotten less tolerant and patient of certain things. But in other ways, I have gotten better at considering all perspectives. Do I think that there are aspects of Voice 123 that are much more complicated than they need to be? Yes, I do. That being said, I understand the struggle of Voice 123 because they have two completely distinct audiences who need two completely distinct sets of features to serve two completely different and distinct outcomes, somehow seamlessly integrated into one platform. And when you think about that, at least for me, I guess it maybe makes me a little bit more tolerant. The voice actor in me wants that site designed completely and utterly with the voice actor in mind to make it easier and more favorable and more enjoyable for the voice actor. The voice actors are the ones that are paying the money. So we should be able to get the things that we want, right? That's the mentality. And I understand that mentality. I also recognize that the voice buyer doesn't care about any of that crap. The voice buyer wants the easiest possible experience to get a voiceover. And if the voice buyer does not get the easiest possible experience to get a voiceover, then the voice buyer is going to find somewhere else to go. And if the voice buyer finds somewhere else to go, then there's nothing for the voice actor to submit for. And so even though the voice actors are the ones who are paying, I understand why the voice buyer has to be prioritized so much. And so then I understand how complicated that makes things. And I guess when you think about that perspective, you start to realize, okay, are there things that I wish they did differently? Sure. Are there things that I think from a voice acting standpoint they could do better? Probably. But do I understand that they're also trying to appease the voice buyers? And without the voice buyers, we got nothing? I get that side of it too. So just something to think about, just another perspective to consider. Playbook is coming. Somebody mentioned Playbook earlier. Fred mentioned Playbook earlier. Playbook is coming. October 7th through the 15th is when the release window is going to happen. Head over to voiceovermarketingplaybook.com and you will be able to sign up for the waitlist for Playbook. And when you sign up for the waitlist, I'm going to send you 10 marketing habits of top VOs. So there's a free PDF that you can grab to check out. But yeah, Playbook is coming in October, a few weeks away. I'm very excited about it. This will be your last chance to get in for the year. Take it now. Get yourself set up for the fourth quarter, and you will be ready to kick butt starting in January. That's what I think. Do you see a decrease in saturation happening in the next 5 years due to AI and platform complexity, et cetera? A decrease in saturation. Are you saying a decrease in saturation of voice actors? Do I think that a percentage of voice actors are going to fade away? Yeah, I do. I think we've already seen it once. There was a massive influx of voice actors or new voice actors or people who were going to attempt to be a voice actor in 2020. The most massive influx that I have ever seen. And I would say half of them are probably gone by now because they realize that it's not as easy as they were told. It, it takes more effort, more work, more investment, et cetera, et cetera. And so, we watched a bunch of them fade away. Is there going to be a percentage of people that are going to come into this industry in the next couple of years and they're not going to be able to cut it because they're going to be competing with AI? Probably. And that's why I say, the most important thing that you can be doing now, other than marketing your face off, I think, the most important thing that you can be doing now is just investing in your acting. I don't know that it will be possible to have too much coaching or too much skill set on the acting side of things, because if you're mediocre, AI will compete with you. But if you are awesome, AI cannot compete with you. Not yet. Maybe in 5 years, I don't know. But that's how you future-proof yourself right now, I think, is by just focusing on your acting and being completely stinking awesome. How did you get to a comfortable spot with your workflow as a VO? I feel so effective at my day job corporate, but having trouble transferring those skills into VO on the business side. Man, I'll tell you what, one of the biggest challenges, and look, this is not, don't take this the wrong way, Anna. I'm just speaking broadly right now because I've talked to a lot of voice actors, but being self-employed is hard. It's really hard. And not everybody is built for it. And there is a learning curve. And I went through that learning curve as well. When you are in a corporate environment in particular, you have a manager or managers, and those managers have managers, and those managers have VPs, and right, there's 47 different layers of bureaucracy. But there is always someone telling you what to do. There is always someone telling you what your priorities are. There are always clearly outlined, well, maybe not always, generally speaking, clearly outlined goals and objectives of what we have to achieve. This is what we're trying to accomplish this quarter. This is what we're working towards this year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so at least you always know what you're supposed to do. On any given day when you show up to work, you know exactly what you're supposed to do because somebody else has already laid it out for you. When you are self-employed, that's you. If you don't lay it out for you, you're danked. And there is a learning curve in trying to figure out how to do that. That's one of the reasons why I think this 30-day marketing challenge that I'm doing right now resonated with so many people, because it literally tells you exactly what to do. Wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. There is an email waiting in your inbox to tell you exactly what step to take today. And when you have taken that step, it tells you exactly what to do next by going and checking off your tracker and then going into the community and letting us know that you've done it. And so it's spelled out. And that's why it feels so easy for people, because they don't have to think about it. Robert Starling, who's on the show, or he's on the live stream, or he was on the live stream anyway, we did an episode in the summer series, a podcast episode. And he came on and he asked me a similar question, right? There's a million things that feel like they're so important. I got to get my website done. I got to get my website updated. I want to write a blog. I need to post on LinkedIn. I was going to do something on Instagram. I probably should make a video. Maybe I should get some sort of reel for Instagram. Probably should be on TikTok. I think I might want to do something over on TikTok. I need to do some marketing. Who should I be reaching out to? I got to find some new leads. I need to have a CRM. I got to learn how to use it. Got to make sure that I'm keeping up with my prospects. I have to do my follow-ups. I need to make sure that I'm sending the right follow-ups to the right people. How often do I send my follow-ups? What should I say in my follow-ups? When's the last time I checked in with that client? Oh crap, I forgot about that client. Did I invoice for that job? I can't remember whether or not I invoiced for that job. I don't even have accounting software to figure out whether or not I invoiced. Are you feeling stressed yet? Right? Like, are you feeling stressed yet? And so we need to have a system in place that can help us to make sense of all of those things. And that can be tricky if you've never been self-employed before. And so, you know, to your original question, when did you feel comfortable with your workflow? I mean, I think I figured it out relatively quickly, but at the same time, I've never stopped adapting. Once upon a time, I was a voice actor and just a voice actor. And so the only thing I had to do was voiceover. And in the beginning, that looked like this. I went up every day on online casting sites and I submitted as many auditions as I possibly could. And then whenever a job came in, I recorded. And that was my workflow. And then I started learning how to market a little bit. And so then I had to find a balance between submitting online casting auditions and marketing and still doing jobs whenever I could do the jobs. And eventually I started to recognize that the marketing thing was working better for me. So I got to shift my workflow again. I'm going to do more marketing and less online casting, still making myself available to do jobs. But then I started realizing I got to put myself out there in other ways. So then I was doing some marketing, some online casting, some blogging, some social media, and still trying to find jobs whenever I could do jobs. And then I got to a point where I became a coach. And so now I need to do my auditions. I need to do my marketing. I need to do my bookings whenever they come in. I still got to keep up with my social media, but now I also have to fit in time for coaching sessions, and I have to fit in time for making whatever the next class is going to be, or putting together the next marketing challenge, or whatever. And so it's never really stopped. The evolution of that workflow has never really stopped. And so I'm better at it now. I'm better at prioritizing now. I'm better at looking at things and saying, okay, in the grand scheme of things, ultimately, this is a 10 on the priority scale, and this is a 3. And so let's focus on the 10s and not worry so much about the 3s until there's a better opportunity for it. So part of that is just recognizing that not everything is an equal weighted priority. There may be 100 different things on your task list, but not every one of those 100 things, no matter what you think, not every one of those 100 things is an equal weighted priority. And some of them are interconnected. And so then you look at that and you follow that workflow. I want to start marketing, but I don't have my demos. Okay, well, the demos just became a higher priority. I want to start marketing and I have my demos, but my website's not up yet. Okay, well, your website just became a higher priority because there's no point in marketing if you have nowhere to send them to hear your demos. And so you look at the interconnectivity of some of those things and it can help you to prioritize as well. So I don't know that there's an easy answer to that, as much as I would say, give yourself a little bit of grace, because that transition, particularly from corporate to self-employed, that's a hard transition to make. Let's see. "95% of the work I do is in Spanish. Any marketing tips to target voice buyers who hire Spanish talent VO?" I think one of the things that I would be looking at, well, where is the language spoken? And I think this is universal. I don't think this is particularly Spanish. So I am in Canada. So Canada would be considered one of my markets, but you know, I consider kind of North America, right? Well, at least Canada and the United States, that is my primary market. But where else in the world is English spoken? Because anywhere in the world where English is spoken is a potential opportunity for me. And so I have marketed myself in the Middle East. I have marketed myself in Europe. I have marketed myself in Australia. I've booked work in South Africa. I've booked work all over the world because I look at where in the world is my is my language spoken? And so I think that's one of the questions that you can ask yourself. Where in the world is Spanish spoken? And I think you can look at that on the country level. I think if you were in the United States, you could look at that on a state by state level. It wouldn't be too hard to figure out where there are large concentrations of Spanish speaking population. So where there are concentrations of large speaking population in the United States, not just in states, but in cities as well, there's going to be opportunities there because there's going to be a percentage of the advertising that is, at the very least, they're doing a bilingual version. But there's going to be an opportunity there. And so that's one of the things that I'd be looking at. Where in the world is my language spoken? Because that is a potential audience and a potential opportunity for my voiceover work. Really helpful perspective. Should probably stop overthinking it. Look, I became a coach so that I could spend all day, every day telling people to stop overthinking it and just do the thing. That's literally it. Like I've done thousands upon thousands of coaching sessions with voice actors in the last 10 years, and I could summarize every one of those coaching sessions down into that single statement. Stop overthinking it. Just do the thing. That's the advice. That's always the advice. In some way, on some level, in some fashion, it always comes back to stop overthinking it and just do the thing. That's pretty much it. All right, guys, I got to jump out. I got a couple of things that I got to do before I got to go pick up the boo at school. Thank you for joining me on Free Advice Friday. As always, I apologize for the technical glitches at the beginning. Still not really sure what happened there. I do have Free Advice Friday in my schedule for next Friday, so hopefully I will be back. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button, by the way. Would you do me that favor and hit the like button before you depart? I would certainly appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. That way you are always going to get notified whenever the live stream is happening or whenever new content is posted to the channel. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. Yeah, right now, looking very promising for a Free Advice Friday next Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully we will see you back here again. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it. It keeps me sharp. I love to know what you guys are thinking about so that helps me figure out how I can help you, whether that's through this channel, through podcast guests, all that sort of stuff. I always love knowing where you guys are at. So thank you for that too. Okay. Whatever you decide to do this weekend, have fun, stay safe, and go find some leads.